for their active participation throughout the National Symposium. Let us commence today's session with the same enthusiasm and dedication. To kickstart the day, we are privileged to have with us Dr. Dilip Barad as an esteemed speaker. I invite him on the stage to guide us through the session. I invite Dr. Sunil Shah.
This pause will take a group photo.
Thank you, sir. Our speaker, Dr. Dilip Barad, is an accomplished academic professor with extensive experience in the field of English language and education. He is currently the professor and head of the Department of English at MK Bhavnagar University and also serves as a NEC assessor, as a chairman and a coordinator. He is also serving as the Dean of Faculty of Arts and as the chairman of Board of Studies for English since 2009. He has authored a book titled The Women Characters in the Novels of Thomas Hardy. He has penned books and articles on Thomas Hardy, Kamala Das, modern communication, and web tools for English teaching. I request Dr. Mihir Mori to come forward and felicitate Dr. Barad with university case and a book. Thank you, sir. This session is centered on the theme Gen AI in English Studies, Tools for Self-Assessment and Practical Literary Analysis. The discussion focuses on AI as a valuable resource for academic growth, equipping students to navigate the complexities of English studies. Then, without further ado, I request Dr. Barad to come to the dais and proceed the session.
Very good morning, everybody. First of all, hearty congratulations to the team of this department that they have initiated a very interesting program for 1 week, and all the students, specifically for students, this program is designed where the students and research scholars gets an opportunity to have a kind of an interaction with scholars of variety of fields. I was seeing some of the video recordings and was quite impressed to see that such a range of people are coming and speaking in this symposium, from translation studies to the textbook writing in the colonial time to comparative studies, and the creative writers also interacted in different ways. So big congratulations to the team, and the students would really be fortunate, lucky to see that such a good environment is being built around here. Well, the topic that is given to me, or rather Mahesh Bhai told that if you can talk on things like generative AI and English studies in general, where English studies can be taken as an umbrella term, which includes two big branches. One is ELT and literary studies. So on one side, English language teaching learning, and the other side about literature also. We find that so far as language is concerned, English language is concerned, generative AI can help us a lot in different ways of either learning or at least getting a good result. But when it comes to this practical literary analysis, or when it comes to literature, then somehow it becomes challenging also, and because of challenges it becomes very interesting also. So in today's session, after having a brief of an introduction to the dynamics around generative AI, we will do some activities. We'll ask you to use this. I hope you might have something to write also, writing pad and other things. You have to do some handwriting also, and you have to use chat GPT also. Both the activities we'll do. I have planned 3 activities. Let us see how many we can do, or at least I will give you a roadmap. If we are not able to complete everything today, you can continue doing those activities. So when we see, first of all, I would request all to join this group. So if I have to give you some instructions or something, then I can easily put in the WhatsApp group. Just let me know if you are able to scan from the distance and do that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And you will have to add my name also in your contact list, so that the links that I am sharing are also opening. Otherwise, sometimes if the person's name is not saved in the contact list, you won't be able to open the links there. Okay, we are seeing the people joining there. Okay, we have got 42, 45 members there. Okay. I am there as a group admin, so I think you can find and save in the contact. So some of the links that I am sharing can be accessible in the group. Yeah, okay, 60 plus members we have now. Okay, okay. Let us move on. Okay. Well, let me start with some anecdotes or some examples regarding how we access the very concept of knowledge. I remember Plato's dialogues, specifically this Phaedrus. And this Phaedrus, there is a very interesting anecdote that is giving that once the god of invention, the Greek god of invention, Theut, came to King Themis and told that I have invented something which will be useful to your citizens. And that invention is writing. He has invented writing. Now, we know that in the Greek days or even in the Gurukul system, speech was always privileged over writing. There were orality in all the cultures, even in the days of or Plato's academy also. Oral interactions, dialogues were at the center rather than writing down the things. Plato was not in favor of writing. So he's giving this anecdote and tells that the king counter-argued with the god of invention. And we can imagine that this mythical era was an interesting era where people were free to counter-argue with gods also. Whether it is Greek days or the Indian mythology, we find that there are lots of interaction that people and gods can do, and people can question gods also. We hope we come back to that era, that one can do that. But this king is questioning that, and in a very interesting manner he is arguing that the one who is the father of invention will always feel that my invention is very good. The inventor always finds some positive things only in that. But he says that I see something problematic in your invention. This will not make my people knowledgeable, as you argue or you say, the writing will make it. But rather it will create an illusion among the people that they are knowledgeable, and in actuality they want to be knowledgeable. So it will be a kind of a double whammy, or a doubly problematic thing, that we have a people who actually are not intelligent, but they think they are intelligent. It is very difficult to deal with such a people that who think they are intelligent, actually they are not so. So that he argues, and Plato concludes that anecdote with an idea that orality is very important, having a dialogue is very important rather than having written form or writing also. We keep this thread hanging there. We'll come down to see that how we can use it in today's context also. Second thread of thought is what are the reactions to AI in education? And we see that there are lots of challenges, and many people reacted quite negatively also. One of the reactions that come not only to AI but technology as such is this also, that Maslow's need hierarchies always comes first beforehand Bloom's taxonomy. Bloom's taxonomy is for learning outcome and Maslow's is for living a life. We know that roti, kapda or makan is always more important than any other things. In this need hierarchies, when we reach at the top of this pyramid of Maslow's hierarchy, that is self-actualization, self-esteem, these things are connected with education. Education gives us or helps us in having self-esteem and self-actualization. But that is possible only when the basics of the living life are catered. So we do keep in mind that Maslow is quite right. People first will always think of living a life, a survival, roti, kapda, makan. Then education, other things will come. So to think that education will be very important to everybody is not the right conclusion to think. So Bloom will always follow that. In the same way, we also see that everybody will not get an access to education as we think of. When we think of technology, the first question that people raise is about infrastructure. Poor people may not have smartphones, internet might not be there, electricity might not be there. So these are all concerns with which even countries like India are still battling. Some are the spaces there where we have these problems also. And we do understand that that is a very important thing. We need to care for that. But what we do normally, we find that when we started education system, even if it was before independence or after independence, we were not having proper schools also, and we do not have proper schools even today also. There are many schools where even benches might not be available. Students might be sitting on the floor and they are studying. Now that doesn't mean that we wait for everybody to get a bench and then only I start teaching. We don't do that. We start doing that. Wherever the facilities are, let us start doing. It will reach everywhere. Infrastructure will reach everywhere, but we don't wait for when the last man gets the resource, then only the first man we will start teaching. So that way we start using technology wherever it is available, in whatever form it is available, that we start, and then we hope that it will reach out to the last people also. So that argument we try to keep in mind when we do this. When AI in 22, by the end of, like we have now 2 years of this generative AI, when it was it came out, the first reactions were quite anti to generative AI, and they are still today in academic arena. We had all these kinds of approaches to using AI applications. Some people say, let us wait for a while and see what is going on around all these things. Some quickly jump down to banning the things and prohibiting the use of generative AI. But teachers and students in a self-guided mode started using it, whether it was legally allowed or not, whether it was an ordinance that told or it told not to use. We have many such ordinances also, where many times mobile phones are not, the teachers are supposed to not use mobile phones, Normally in the schools we find those strict regulations that they have to submit a mobile phone in principal's office and they have to go. So there are rules, but irrespective of whatever the rules say, whether they allow us or not, though our national education policy is very upfront on the usage of technology, very upfrontly telling that people have to, right from the school days, people have to start using AI as well as technologies also. But self-guided way it started. It started in that manner. And then somewhere school-wide implementation also was happening in some modes or other thing. People started using it also. But we have this all range of reactions to AI. We have all this news catching up in the newspaper, and many times when there are news which are anti-technology, we love to read it again and again. We love to recycle it time and again. Like last time in Australia, we got the news that they are putting a ban on social media for children, and then there are lots of debate and discussion in India also around those kinds of things there. Many times we fail to see that when people talk of technology and education, they also are talking about school education, not higher education, not colleges and universities also. KGs are KGs and PGs are PGs. We don't have to merge both the things together. Many times we merge the thing. We deal with PG also like people deal with KG. So that also we need to see that, well, most of the talks are about schools, not about higher education. And higher education, there is an adult mind, there is a more grown-up mind, more mature mind. And then if they are allowed to use either different languages or technologies, we have a debate about both the things going on, the language as well as technology. There is no problem with that. There should not be a problem with an adult mind as such. But then most of the reactions come to what to do with schools, and still the mind is not formed in a proper shape. Can we see that the mind gets over-relied or dependent on the tools like generative AI or not? That is a big concern, and we may not suggest that right from the childhood everybody should start using that. Our concern by and large is higher education. So from that angle we try to see that we are in higher education, and then we deal with language studies or literature studies. So New York school bans ChatGPT amid cheating worries. Universities are revamping the thing, and they are alarmed by this way the AI is performing. Professor catches, this word, catches student cheating with ChatGPT and the kind of a thing there. Which is again a very long debated argument that in education we have done even before the time of technology also, that we want to see that people collaborate, people do project work, they work together. But when it comes to exam, then we expect you to be a solo performer. In exam halls, you should not be a collaborator. In exam system, you should not help each other. So there is a very interesting dynamic that we still are not able to change our examination systems in that mode where we can bring in that collaboration of working together also. Well, so we use the word cheating. Now people say the better word is collaboration rather than cheating. If you take a human consultancy, it is not a problem. Why it is a problem if you take a machine consultancy? If you ask 10 people, we tell to the PhD scholars, go visit, do survey, meet this person, meet that person. Then we should tell, don't meet anybody. Be isolated in your room, in the library room, without anybody's contact, do your research. No, we tell them, meet people, take interviews. Then what's wrong if people meet and take a consultancy of technology also? And ChatGPT is death of education also. That way also people have started proclaiming, as Nietzsche once proclaimed, the death of the God. The same way many proclaimed the death of education also. We have a very interesting objection from Noam Chomsky also. Now, Noam Chomsky is obviously a big name, and though very old, but still very bright mind, a thinking mind. And one needs to rethink if Noam Chomsky also is giving some observations regarding this. He is a famous linguist also. He knows very well how language works, and he is also very good in how the cognitive abilities, mind and language. The mind is somehow hardwired with language. Human mind is. So the humans can get the language, where animals are not able to get the language as such. There is something hardwired in the mind. What is that we need to explore, but He was able to reach to that level in his thinking also. So he also had this, that true intelligence and artificial intelligence is different thing. True intelligence has limitless creativity. There are ethical principles that govern our mind, natural mind, and to what extent we can do what. There is some kind of filters within us, which filters perhaps might not be available to artificial intelligence. So where to stop or where to move on, perhaps that ethical intelligence might be a problem also. Though this Q star, people thought that is an answer to whatever Noam Chomsky was seeing there. But suddenly now people are not talking about Q star also. It came, people talk, and then suddenly there is a blanket cover around the Q star debate also. So people are worried that what is this and why nobody is talking now about this also. Well, this also is a hanging thread. We will try to see this also. This is the another thread we are opening up, and this was a very old video of Steve Jobs, and he is telling something which is quite interesting. Let us listen this. I hope the audio will be available for everyone. Or I can just put a mic here. Available. This is just play. Audio setting resolution. અહીંથી જોઈ લઈએ સાઉન્ડ આઉટપુટ.
When I was going to school, I had a few great teachers and a lot of mediocre teachers. And the thing that probably kept me at jail was books. Because I could go read what Aristotle wrote or what Plato wrote. And I didn't have to have an intermediary in the way. And a book was a phenomenal thing. It got right from the source to the destination. I didn't know. The problem was you can't ask Aristotle a question. And I think as we look toward the next 1,500 years, if we really can come up with these machines that can capture an underlying spirit or an underlying set of principles or an underlying way of looking at the world, then when the next Aristotle comes around, maybe he carries around one of these machines with him his whole life, his interval life, and types in all this stuff. Then maybe someday after the person's dead and gone, we can ask this machine, hey, what would Aristotle look like? What about this? And maybe you know the right answer, but maybe you're wrong. And that's really exciting to me. And that's one of the reasons I'm doing what I'm doing.
So, you see that when you are studying, you are reading Plato, Aristotle, but book is an intermediary. Now, if you want to ask something to Aristotle, then what can be done? If you want to ask something to dead people, now this all thing which he was saying that I look towards this to a greater extent has become a reality today also. We will see that example. Can we remove the book as intermediary and directly ask questions to the dead ones, the books which books we are studying or not there? Well, I did this experiment by asking this to ChatGPT and to see what result we got. Let us see. So as a practice to what Steve Jobs was expecting, I thought that let me ask this. My prompt was act as a Greek philosopher Aristotle, act as a this, who wrote Poetics and reply these questions as Aristotle probably would reply. What is the meaning of catharsis and hamartia? This. So then says, certainly my friend, I shall endeavor to answer as Aristotle might have done on catharsis. Catharsis described it as I described in Poetics. Yeah, the dead one is coming alive. Is the purgation or purification of emotions, and to a greater extent things are quite okay as we find the thing. Then on hamartia, as I have noted, refers to the tragic flow or error of judgment and a kind of a thing that is there. Find that I don't think any problem with whatever content is generated. It's not objectionable. One can also say that, well, these are already available on internet, so it is easy for ChatGPT to bring in this kind of a thing there. I also asked, which is the best play according to you, wherein one finds best of these concepts illustrated? And back of my mind, it was Oedipus, because he has himself told that Oedipus the Rex by Sophocles is one of the ideal tragedies. And that answer also came here. It says that, oh my friend, if I, Aristotle, were to name the play that most exemplifies the principles of tragedy as I have outlined in my Poetics, it would undoubtedly be Sophocles' Oedipus Rex. This, and then he's explaining why Oedipus. That also is that because of hamartia and catharsis. In that context, he says, that is where I find it the best one. Well, fine. Then I asked this question. We started with Plato, so that now act like a Greek philosopher, Plato, in the same thread, and explain me the reference to the invention of writing by a Greek god and given to Greek king who did not agree with the god of invention regarding the benefits of writing. The new invention, which was the writing, this is in Phaedrus, Dialogues by Plato. So I made a context clear, this. Well, it says, oh, my friend, I shall speak as I, Plato, recounting the tale of the invention of writing. As told in my dialogue Phaedrus, the story is presented through the words of Socrates, and it recounts the story of Egyptian god Thoth and King Themis, also known as Ammon, and then tells the story. The tale of writing's invention is coming there. Remedy for memory and wisdom. That is what God thought, that this will be a remedy for memory and wisdom. And then it gives a quote also, which is very nearly what is found in the translated versions of Phaedrus, where quite nearly it is found, and it gives this all things where people may have an illusion of a knowledge and other kinds of things there. Plato's perspective on writing, it comes that how he is looking this writing as a shadow of true knowledge, as a shadow, a trace of true knowledge. We know we talked about twice removed from reality. For him, even the poetic work was not a creative work, but it was a copy of a copy. That's how he used to see. So writing also is a servile copy of a speech, and he thought that truth is near speech, not near the writing. So the dialectic of writing also is talking about that why he said that I said such a kind of thing. He's trying to justify that what was in the back of my mind when I did that. And then I think let me see. Let me refresh. The later part is still not coming on the page, so let me see. these are the responses that we can say that they are already available on the response on the net. So it might be giving, compiling the things, and it comes there. Then I asked this for further digging, to have a dialogue with Plato. This. And this was that thanks, you have given an interesting depth through your acceptance of that idea about writing, and you agree that you privileged speech over writing. Today, many people have similar apprehension as you had once about writing about generative AI. So today, the same example is used by many. Like, for example, I remember book Technopoly by Neil Postman. Neil Postman, in his book Technopoly, used this, and he argued that today, because then it was internet only, not generative AI, because something is available on internet, people have an illusion that they know it. Because you can search on the Google, people get an illusion that they know it, but actually they don't know it. And so to deal with a generation of people who think they know so many things, but actually they are not knowing, will be a very difficult task. Actually, it is a difficult task also. Oxford Dictionary has given this word for the word of the year 2024, and that is brain rot. Brain rot, and it is connected with social media consumption, social media, reels, and lot many such kind of a stuff which our mind keeps on consuming, which is of no worth, or it is a very shallow kind of a thing. So Neil Postman, the way he is using this argument is quite true also. It is happening also among us also, but there are other possibilities or not. For example, the question that we want to ask here is this, that even though he objected to writing, we see that writing is very integral to knowledge systems today. We can't say that without writing we can sustain knowledge systems. For example, how do we come to know about the bygone ages? The people, what they were thinking, what were the history, what were the cultures? Only through written text, only through writings only. And how the future generations will come to know about us? Through writing only. So writing is important, and somehow we can say Plato misjudged the concept or the importance of writing when he was talking in his time. He perhaps misjudged that writing can be something very useful or very integral also. So in that, with that context, we try to see that after 2000 years of Plato, what is the status of writing among us? And we see that, well, writing is very important. Then we have to say that maybe Plato was somewhere wrong in judging the importance of writing there. So in that context, we ask, today people equate this with generative AI and its ability to write, to generate ideas, capability to have a dialogue. The critics of AI, just as you said back then, argue that this will lead to brain rot and people will have illusion about the knowledge, which in actuality they may not have. Will it happen that the generative AI will win this debate in times to come? Like writing has won the debate in times to come, will generative AI also win this debate to come? Writing won the debate of privileging speech over writing. The Plato there is telling, my thoughtful interlocutor, your question strikes at the heart of the human condition, our perpetual encounter with the unknown, the new, the revolutionary. Just as my skepticism of writing has been challenged by time, now this is accepting that idea. Is not unnecessarily arguing and telling that no, I am still right. Not in that way, but this Plato, generated Plato, is accepting this position. So to may today's doubts that generative AI eventually yield to its demonstrated potential, let us consider the parallel carefully. Often teaches us wisdom in the face of a change. So then he gives the nature of apprehension. When writing emerged, I feared it would weaken memory and diminish the living pursuit of wisdom. Similarly, the critics of generative AI fear that it may erode creativity, diminish critical thinking, and give rise to an illusion of understanding without the efforts of true knowledge. So now this seems like some in an interesting manner the ideas are coming up. The ideas are connected. What is knowledge creation? I remember Steve Jobs' one famous speech is given to the Stanford University. He said it is all about connecting dots. Knowledge creation is all about connecting dots. So how well you can connect the dot, some new picture emerges, new image emerges. In childhood, we all have learnt how to connect the dots. But when we were children, 1, 2, 3, 4 was written there. Now it is not written. Now dots are there, but we have to connect out of our imagination, innovation, creativity, whatever emerges is the new way of looking at the world, is the new way of writing. We know that there are only 1, 2, Z alphabets or K to Gna limited alphabets, and yet people keep on writing new creative writing from the limited words or alphabets that are available to the people. What are they doing? They are just connecting new dots, and then the new things are emerging there. So this way we see here that some new connections with the dots are being perceived here. Then also he writes generative AI form of writing, debate and its possible outcome. In detail, Plato is explaining the things in his Platonic style also. And then he gives a cautionary parallel to this also. Philosophical conclusion. Okay, after this, well, he agreed that maybe the way I was wrong, the critics may also be wrong, but caution can always be applied, how people are using all this thing. The another question was related to Noam Chomsky's observation. That was the thread which we try to answer here. Thanks for your insightful observation. This is my another prompt. Noam Chomsky is a renowned thinker of our times. He is a critic of generative AI. He considered all the promises of AI as false promises. He considers it as a mere plagiarism tool. It has no intelligence, and many such things which is a lot found on the internet is just compiled and presented there. Plato, do you agree with him? Plato, do you agree with him? Or do you think that his observations might also go wrong as your own writing has gone wrong? Directly we tell this, that the way your observation writing has gone wrong, is it possible that Noam Chomsky's observation on generative AI may also go wrong there? Well, what a profound question. It is a very interesting way that it keeps on helping us in thinking. Like this is a good pedagogical idea. When teachers are trained, they are always told that always encourage the questioner. How the students can be encouraged. That way, this also is behaving with us. My friend, and one that invites careful contemplation. Noam Chomsky as a thinker stands among the great minds of your time, and his critique of generative AI carries weight. Yet even the sharpest intellects may find their judgments shaped by the perspectives of their age. As mind were shaped by the concerns of ancient Athens, let us consider his argument with respect, yet also with the humility that time demands for all philosophical presuppositions or prepositions also. So this way, and then explains that how Noam Chomsky's critique and other things that can be there also. So now here we see that what Steve Jobs was telling, that what are the possibilities. When I am studying in a library, there are books, I am reading about dead people, but if I want them to come alive and give answers to me and have a dialogue with me, have an interaction with me, the possibilities have opened up. This is just a beginning only. This is just a beginning. We can say just a baby of 2 years only as such. It is there, and then what possibilities might lie after 10 years or 15 years, that is very immense possibilities that one can see in this also. So that is one experiment that we did, and we find that it's a very interesting way that this can work. The books, the way we see the books can perhaps be replaced partially by such live interactions with the people or with the imaginary characters of novel or a play also, and then people might see a different way to deal with literature also, as we were doing with the books and the written material. Then we see that where is the gap in the pedagogy when we move towards teaching language or teaching language as well as literature. What is the gap? What are we looking for? Why AI in my classroom? So when I am as a teacher dealing with the things, I need to find the gap, and can AI fill that gap or not? A gap kind of a thing we can say is about metacognition. Metacognition is defined something like this, where self-assessment and self-learning comes together in the people's mind, and they keep on learning on their own. Lev Vygotsky's idea of constructivism is the backbone of technology-related pedagogy, where people construct the knowledge. When we live in a society, we keep on learning lot many things, and even if we simply ask ourselves that how many things I can do or whatever I think was really a part of my schooling or college education, and how many things I learned from the life, then you will see that many things we learned from the life. We constructed our understanding, we constructed the way to look at the world, to have our opinions, our argument, that all is constructed. So on that ground, this works, metacognition, that self-assessment and self-learning, if that happens, it can play a very significant role. It's a proven human psychological ideas that if somebody pinpoints us that this is your error, we do not like, and we create a mental block to that, then whatever the person will tell, our mind will not be ready to accept it. That is a huge problem with parenting. Why we don't like parents' ideas? It is because of all those mental blocks. That time and again, if the parents had gone on telling us that don't do, don't do, don't do, then we create a kind of a mental block, and then we deny even any good idea, something that is helping us also to accept from those people. If it is self-learning, self-assessment of our writing, then it's a different story altogether. So metacognition refers to awareness and regulation in one's own learning and thought processes, our own way we undergo our thought process and do the things. It involves evaluating one's understanding, reflecting on progress, and adapting strategies for effective learning also. Now here, if you want to do this in our teaching learning process, be it language or literature, how can this be effectively done with the help of generative AI? If we can do, then we can say it was a gap, and that gap can be filled if I include generative AI with my traditional classrooms. For this, we can have this kind of pedagogical strategies in classroom. We are going to highlight on three things today. We'll see practically that how these three things, like one-to-one tutoring, can help us, or assessment and feedback we can get, and can it help in continuous improvement. When I'm not with teachers, when I'm not a student at all, lifelong learner, also can I become or not, and in that how generative AI can play a significant role. This comes also, it has its own literature review also, that what is this idea of one-to-one tutoring or self-assessment. Benjamin Bloom, Bloom's taxonomy, which is very crucial into pedagogy. Here's another article, research article, where he raised this problem of 2 sigma problem he called. And he called that if you want to have a lesser time, this blue color, if you see, less time, the higher the bar. So in less time, if you want to have a better output, learning ability, learning outcome, then one-to-one tutoring is necessary. We can have traditional lecture mode, where there is a very long orange color duration, long time, but we can never reach to the highest mode. Then we do mastery learning, we do some activities and other thing which supports those kinds of things, then little bit, but one-to-one can help a lot in a shorter duration to reach to a higher level also. But we can't give one teacher, a personalized teacher to every student. It is nearly impossible. For any country it is impossible. Even if with a huge population in India, we can never afford that one gets one teacher who can understand everything, who never becomes angry and keeps on giving all the answers and replies to all our queries. That is not possible. Now if that we want to do, then generative AI can become a good assistant. It can become a private teacher to teach us the things there. But we want to see how it works also. This is a frame from Salman Khan's TED talk, Khan Academy's Salman Khan. And he talked about this in this TED talk, that how AI could save not destroy education, where he is connecting that 2 sigma problem can now become an opportunity. It's not a problem now. Now it can be turned into an opportunity for students as well as teachers also. Teachers also will get an assistant who will keep on doing whatever he wants to be done. And students also will get a teacher to do this work there. We know that there are challenges with generative AI, that whatever we do, what result we will get, we never know. It can be highly hallucinatory responses or confabulated responses, like when we will do activity, many of you may find or challenge this also. So what is important? What is the solution to see that hallucination or confabulated responses are avoided? Then it is, you have to train this beast. This is Mephistopheles. If you recall Dr. Faustus, then this is the Mephistopheles. Dr. Faustus wanted to have an assistant of Mephistopheles because he had so many questions. He wanted to know that what is happening in universe. So he wanted somebody to give answers to all his questions. And so he had a pact with devil. One may say that we also are going for a pact with devil here. When we think of AI, we are also making a pact with a devil there. But a tragedy of Dr. Faustus is because instead of asking profound questions, he became a mere magician later on. And then it was his downfall first, and then what he has done. If we are very careful, if we learn a lesson from Dr. Faustus, then perhaps we can save ourselves in all this dynamics also. Train the beast. Tell this machine what exactly I want to do and what I expect from you. Give some guidelines there. Then the result will be streamlined and in a proper manner. If we do wrong things with the machines and the machine is behaving in a wrong manner, it is going to be. We have seen many examples. But there was one tweet by one fellow, and he tagged IRCTC, Indian Railway Services, and said that they give lots of advertisement on their platform, which is quite awkward to see government platform having lots of ads. But his complaint, he took a screenshot and has put this on a Twitter and said that this such a kind of a vulgar advertisements are given by government on this platform, and they should not do this and they should have a filter. Then people commented that the advertisements come by the user's choice. They are not given by anybody. If you are doing wrong things on the internet, you will get wrong advertisement only. If you are watching bad videos on YouTube, you always get the bad videos on YouTube. If what you are doing, that is what it is giving. It is a mirror. It's an ox. It's our ox that is reflected. So before you complain about technology, be careful that it can boomerang on you also. So if you are doing a good use, you obviously will say that no, there is good stuff everywhere on YouTube and social media and everywhere. If you do wrong things, you bound to get those things also. So training these machines is very important thing. So we need to have some prompts where we train and then we expect things to be done also. So we come to our first activity here. Now you have to write something. So be ready to write down the things. So what you have to do, and you just follow what I tell you step by step. First, write a simple question of your choice or on any character study or thematic study of any literary text or anything that comes in your mind. Draft a question which you would love to answer also. Not for others, but for your writing the answer. Draft one question. No, handwritten. This is, do not use mobile phone. Handwrite it. Do not use mobile phone now. We'll tell you when you have to use mobile phone. Right now, don't use mobile phone. Handwrite the question first. Thematic study, character study, comparative study, anything that you think which is normally asked in the exam. So you have given 3 years of UG exams for literature. So you are aware that what kind of questions are normally asked on a text which is very near to you. Anybody is asking anytime, tell something about this text, and you can tell, you can speak for 10-15 minutes on that text. Such a text you select to write a question. Okay? Then drafted the question. Simple question of your choice from literary study. Okay? Once you have done, you can just raise a hand so I can get that how many of you have completed. Writing a question. Okay? I will come in the aisles to have a look at your question and your answer also. Our next prompt is, prompt means handwritten prompt, not on the chat GPT, is write an answer to this question in 50 to 75 words. Do not use mobile phone, handwrite it. Let me...
This is the homework. Giving us homework assignment. 50 to 75 words.
Yeah.
Handwriting.
Don't use mobile phone. Handwrite.
Minimum 10 to 20 sentences.
Handwrite the answer.
10 sentences. Write a short essay.
And just 50, and use one full page. Some of you are using half page because you have to take a photograph of that page. You have to take a photograph of that page to submit the photograph. So take a full page and see that on one single page you can write your answer also, question and answer. One full page, only one photo you can take and submit. One page, don't use half page, use full page so you can take a photo and submit the photograph. If you will do it quickly, we will be able to cover up all the activities. Otherwise, it may take time. Yeah?
Homework.
Within 2-3 minutes, you all are PG students, I think. So, yeah, then you will get the answer. Answer also, yeah. There is a second prompt is answer in 50-75 words. Have a look on the screen.
Whatever you are writing, it should be compared with AI. AI answer.
Take a proper photo of that afterwards. One page, then one or two pages, then two. We want it within few minutes. Not even 5 minutes. Don't think a lot. Whatever comes in you, don't worry about right, wrong things. That generative AI will worry. Just write down whatever way it comes. That is the stream of consciousness inside of writing answers. The way normally people write in the exams. Then that way you can just write down whatever comes in your mind.
You have to write the question, you have to write the answer, you have to discuss among themselves. Most steps, you have a basic method.
And he is still struggling to write a question also. Now that means that brain rot is the right word. There is a lot of rottenness also you can see. Our mind is not able to process it quickly. As soon as the things are given, we can't think. Brain rotting is happening. We need to do lots of pranayam, yogasana. You see that there is a blood flow in the mind also. Brain cells require some exercise. Otherwise, everything will get rotten. So it is a test of that also. That are our brains rotting?
Very natural, so you can wind up. The points back to the area, 15-20 minutes. They will have a long breath now.
Because this you have to submit in a form. This here. So here when you do this, now you have to move on to ChatGPT, and you have to ask ChatGPT with this prompt. This answer, yeah, that one. Give your typed answer with this prompt. So whatever you have written, even if it is 3-4 lines, don't worry. That also now you go to ChatGPT. You can open your mobile phone and you can.
Some of them are aware of this activity.
Exercise. They have done this. Assess this answer of the question. Question you give marks out of 10. You can give this prompt. give marks out of 10 for the academic quality of the content, grammar correctness, and proper justification of the question. Yes. This prompt, as we said, that training the beast is very important. So how we train the beast, what we expect from generative AI. So we are very clear here.
Right.
That I want quantitative marking also and qualitative analysis also. Now this teachers fail to do always. We can give quantitative marks or qualitative, but both the things. And then when we ask that, okay, you have given me 2 marks out of 10, and you have told me that these are all the problems. So now write an answer where you can score 10 marks. Let us tell to generative AI that you are doing preaching. Now practice it. And it will be able to do that also, where teachers fail to do.
So if you come with
yes,
message you correctly.
Yeah.
We give some exaggerated marks so we don't deserve.
We don't deserve.
Pass.
But the self-improvement is not there. We get a score, but how self-improvement happens with the help of those things that normally makes in those pedagogies. So on one side there is a practice. Practice is fine. Teachers are doing that, but if students come and tell that, sir, please write this answer the way you are suggesting. And this is not one ideal answer. It is not mathematics that you have one theorem and it is applicable to everybody. It is all separate answers. In literature, all answers are correct answers. If everybody tells me that right for me, it is difficult for any teacher to do that. Now there is a huge gap we can see. That can be filled with generative AI. So finding gaps in pedagogy and then preparing or thinking of a proper content, that is also an important thing. This prompt also was detailed, which I wanted to share in the WhatsApp, but I think we will just discuss and we'll end. Okay. This prompt, so here now we are going to BAWE corpus, BAWE, British Academic Writing Corpus, and we are telling that with reference to BAWE corpus, assess my answer. Let's come to this. Now what way? And these are all things. Specific focus areas for assessment with reference to BAWE corpus are evaluate the structure and organization of the essay, assess the use of academic tone and style, style of writing, review the argumentation and critical analysis, check appropriate use of textual evidence also when the answer is written. Now, many times the students are not aware that when I write an answer, I have to take care of all these things also. What is told in the BAWE corpus. That this way an ideal descriptive essay type answer in literature can be written. Now in this you analyze and tell me. So obviously we will fail if you just randomly write something. You will not get good score. But then you will ask that, okay, write this answer in this style, and you will get one good answer.
Yes.
And then when we study that, there is self-learning. Then we learn from that what I have done, what is this. Now nobody is telling me this is your error. This is myself evaluating my credentials for language, literature, writing, and other things. That one can see that.
There is one thing which I wanted to point out, sir, with your permission. When we were students, now there was a lot of subjectivity when it came to assessment. Like a teacher would always want students to write what he or she has discussed in the classroom. And here, this is based on rubrics. So that conflict creates problems for students sometimes. That is what I think.
Yes, even that can be given. So that prompt can be prepared. That in this answer, keep this point in mind, which is discussed by the teacher. Like if I have dealt with 2-3 articles, and then in that context I have discussed that topic. So I can give that in reference to the article written by this or this thematic concern, do the assessment. So then again it will be narrowing down and then try to see or correct and see the thing in the given context. The more training we give, the more specific we are, the more help we get from this machine. So generally if we use, we get general responses. But specifically we do, then that is what we have done. I will share one of the worksheets here. We wanted you to fill this form afterwards, but I think you won't be able to complete the work. But later on you can do if you are working on this. But this is the Google form where your photograph and what ChatGPT has generated, both the things you have to submit. So we can compare the thing that what you have written, what is suggested to us according to BAWE corpus, that one. This was our first activity. Our second activity was pertaining to literature. I'm giving some ideas, later on you can practice. We won't be able to practice it today, but later on you can do. This is the link of a blog which you can scan and keep it with you, where a collection of some poems are given in Urdu, Hindi, Gujarati, English, in all 4 languages. There are several poems which are given. Which can be used for analysis, which shorter poems. Short poems are given there, which we can use. That how generative AI can help us in literary analysis. What we can do there, and the prompt for this. What is the prompt for literary analysis of short poems? In this poem, we ask name of the poet. Poem also we give there, shorter version, and then our task that we are giving to generative AI. You have to use 2 theoretical approaches when you analyze the poem. First one is reader response theory, and another is new criticism. Verbal study is what you have to do. So we are very specifically writing in detail to generative AI that I want the analysis from this angle, 2 angles or theoretical framework we are giving. And then we say that I.A. Richards told about 4 kinds of meaning, sense, feeling, tone, and intention. Cleant Brooks wrote an essay on language of paradox, language of poetry is language of paradox. Alan Tate talked about extension, intention, and tension in poetry, which is talking about connotative meaning and denotative meaning there. So these 3 critics I have given who are new critics, and they are talking something about the language of poetry. Now I want this analysis in this context on, and maybe we will be able to get it more specifically that okay, if as an I.A. Richards, the way he's talking about this or Clint Brooks, I can get more specific responses also. In the same way, if you have another critics and you are doing poetic analysis and you want to see that how it can be done, it is not available on Wikipedia, Spark Notes, anywhere. You can generate your own critical analysis also. That is whatever we, like for example, we tried on deconstructive reading, deconstructing any of the work of art. So how deconstruction can be applied? Many times students struggle a lot. We understand Derridian deconstructive concept, but when it comes to apply on a literary text, which is very challenging. So we can take help of generative AI to see that how it can be done. If I can show 1 or 2 examples, some of the for example, this was one such activity which we gave to our students. Deconstructive analysis of Ezra Pound's In a Station of the Metro and William Carlos Williams's The Red Wheelbarrow. These are very short poems, 2 lines, 5 lines kind of a poem. It's a poem of modernity. Modernism is there, but we want to do deconstructive reading this. So this was given, understanding deconstruction, Derrida and deconstruction, which source we have used, that was given. What is post-structuralism? This is a short poem, just 1.5 lines, and we wanted a deconstructive reading. Also image is a good idea to generate. Sometimes when we read poetic lines, there is no visual imagery of the poem, which is very challenging because when we read a poem, there should be visualization. I keep on visualizing some pictures are created in my mind when I read a poem. But modernist poems are so awkward that it doesn't create any image. So sometimes this machines can help us in finding a proper image to see this. And then the context, that how it can be done. This was about wheelbarrow. this William Carlos Williams's poem and the deconstructive analysis of this also. Now this helps that when I am doing a deconstructive analysis, what should be my language, what vocabulary I have to use, how I have to analyze that all language, linguistic markers, the points which are very important for that, all one can easily get with the help of generative AI tools there. Along with this, the another experiment, the third one, our third activity here was about one more step ahead of this. This was the second step which we are doing here. And our third one was to open this worksheet here. You can open this worksheet, you can scan and open, so we can have an overview of the worksheet. We won't be able to do the work, but at least we can have some ideas, idea sharing here. Now in this, when we open, I think you might have opened this page, poetry and post-structuralism. This might come there. This is AI-powered analysis of poetry. Now what is here? The first step here is to generate a poem. It is to generate a poem. So now we are not working on the poems written by humans. I want to do some critical analysis, but I want a new poem for that analysis. Like it is a Christmas festival going on, and today I have to teach some poetry. Let me first generate a poem and then do the analysis in the classroom. So this activity, that can we have ready to use literature in the classroom as and when we want it, as and when we can do that. So for that the prompts were given that each poem should be of 3 to 4 stanzas, a sonnet or a short poem in iambic pentameter or heroic couplet of 10 to 12 lines. Choose a topic, either monsoon, rain, love, death, nature, flowers, forest, or the ideas like poem on literature, poem on existentialism, poem on digital humanities, anything that you can try, that not only this but anything that I want a poem on. Third level of this, you can also ask a poem on the other literature that we are studying. For example, we are studying the Westland. I want a sonnet on Westland. I am studying Waiting for Godot. I want a sonnet or a heroic couplet on the on the Waiting for Godot also. So intertextuality, when we teach intertextuality, that how the one genre of the literary text can transfer into another genre. Everywhere we see that if humans can do everything, it is well and good. But we come to know that no, humans won't be able to do everything. If Harold Pinter has written a play, Birthday Party, he wrote a poem also on Birthday Party. And when we read both the things, play and poem, we get a better sense of what he is trying to do also. But Beckett has not done that. Beckett has written Waiting for Godot, but he has not written a poem on that. Or Westland is a rather longer poem. There is no other, there are pastiches on Westland, but if I want a new one, then how can I do? So any literary text that here, we have to see that there should be a classic text. Classic text, the very new text it will not do, because raw material is not available on internet. So if the classic text is used, we can get a very interesting thing like Jude the Obscure, Tess of the Urbanvilles, The Great Gatsby. On that we can generate a poem. And then study deconstruction. We kept some handy material on this ready, like Peter Berry's book is very useful in this. Peter Berry's book on Introduction to Theories. And we can pick up some ideas and then we can give to ChatGPT, study this. Because I will ask you to do analysis based on this study. So ChatGPT will study what we are telling to it, and then based on that we have to see that now analyze the poem with the reference to all these things there. So this was this worksheet, and then students were supposed to write the blog, and the analysis used to happen in this manner also. So this is the third task that we can see, that what possibilities it may come. First, our answers that we write, it can be corrected with according to BAWE corpus, and we can do lots of self-learning. If you want to learn how to do critical analysis, how to apply some theoretical ideas on the work of literature, and then I can pick up any poem and give theoretical ideas and I can do critical analysis. Third one, I can also have a visual imagery of a literary text. If it is a modernist or post-modernist literature, it is very difficult to visualize and comprehend. I can get some images also to support that. Fourth, we can also generate a literature and work on it. We can generate a literature, like I want to do eco-criticism. So I can first ask that write a poem which is quite convenient to do eco-criticism. So I get a poem which is easy to do eco-criticism. So I can understand both the things, what way an eco-critical poem can be created and how can I apply the ideas of eco-criticism on this also. Or queer theory, if people say, or new historicism, if people want to see. That all people can try by creating a new literature and then trying to do analysis of that work also. Finally, it was this. This idea came to me when I listened some part of this talk by Dr. Rupali Burke. On the first day, I think you had that talk, and it was good that it was recorded and uploaded. So I was able to listen that part. And we also are dealing with comparative studies and translation studies. And I was teaching that in last week also. So I got many ideas from that talk also, and I shared that video link with our students also, that this is worth watching. Rupali Burke has talked something very interesting about translation studies. But the ending part was this, that what happens when you do with machine translation and generative AI. You can scan this also. You will come to this, I think, what we will get is, this perhaps you will open, translation studies activity worksheet using generative AI. This are you opening? Last scan, let me show again. Okay. This is an extra activity, translation with the help of generative AI, which we have given to our students in last week. But the idea I got after listening to Rupali Burke's talk, that because she was talking about human translation, machine translation, and generative AI translation. Those comparison was done, and she observed it quite rightly, that machine translations have a limited capacity, but generative AI has lots of possibilities there. Machine translation operates on a given database, whereas generative AI operates on algorithms. So it is able to do something that is not feed in, because there is machine learning, and it keeps on learning very fast, which Google Translate cannot do because it is not on the platform of machine learning. It is this generative AIs are on that platform. So this activity we asked our students to see that you pick up the poems, and are you able to open that page? This one, this worksheet was there. So we asked them to select the poems, like one Urdu, one Hindi, one English, and one Gujarati. 4 separate short poems we asked them. We suggested 2 poems, 2 according to them. They were free to select 2 poems. Then we gave the prompts of this. Analyze translation, step number 2. Compare the translation from ChatGPT and Gemini. The 2 tasks we gave. Machine is not helping a lot, so we kept it outside. Otherwise, it becomes very interesting to study machine translation and this too also. And what we wanted to do, because we read a couple of articles by A.K. Ramanujan on translating a poem, Ganesh Devi on Indian view to translation studies, and we wanted those ideas to come. So how will you translate syntax, meter and sound, which is nearly impossible to translate, lexicon and grammar, cultural connotations, how will it be translated? So everything we are giving as a prompt to generative AI, that I expect not only a random translation, but I want the syntactic order, I want the syntax, the meter, the sound, lexicon, grammar, cultural connotations, that all, tone and emotion and semiotics also. This all I want. And all these words we got from where? From research articles on translation studies. So what becomes very important is that you have to read also a lot. If you are widely read, then you can use the machine properly. If your reading is not limited, then also you don't know what to do. Where are ideas? Ideas also are there in books, in journals, in articles. There are those ideas. I have to read that, and then I have to work here also. Then we said, what are the prompts? Two types of prompts we suggested. Two types. One was for translation, another was for analysis. For translation, we tell, while prompting ChatGPT or Gemini, include these instructions. Translate the poem with attention to syntax, meter, sound, grammar. Retain the rhyme scheme and meter wherever possible. And in the analysis, we will ask that if machine failed to retain meter or a rhyme, which is very difficult to translate. Everybody says that in their research article that meter and rhyme is difficult to translate. We said you have to tell that you failed to translate. That also they have to, machine has to accept it, that here I failed to do the translation of meter or rhythm. Where the analysis prompts. Identify and discuss which part of the poem were challenging to translate and why. This again we are asking to machine. Let generative AI tell what was difficult for it to translate. And then we will use it for our analysis, that what is it telling in doing that. Did the meter rhyme scheme influence the translation? Were any liberties taken to retain poem's tone and emotion? So this all prompts we are preparing by thinking on something. Prepare a prompt that were any liberties taken, highlight differences between both the things, and then how do Jacobson's, Catford's, Davies, Ramanujan's ideas about translation apply to your findings. So how this all thing also we give the articles, and we give the articles also, so it can try to work on that. Deliverables, how they would do the things, and classroom discussion topics are, after doing all this work, when students come in the class, we ask directly, can AI truly capture the essence of poetry across languages? We worked on 4 languages. How do cultural nuance shape the challenges in translation? And this is all human activity. So students are now analyzing whatever outcome they got, and they are trying to do the work in that manner also. So this is how, this is the 4th part, that how in literature studies or in language studies we can take the maximum advantage of this all tools in different ways also. We have 10 minutes. Question and answer. Okay, finally, well, quickly let me wind up the things there. When we are talking about Chomsky's objections, we can also raise many other concerns against that how we are now doing things also are coming to us as a technological solutions. We think that technology can hamper only, but no, technology is giving a better solutions also to us. When we see, for example, this ad for so we get the essence of the ad. Under the feminist discourse, the ad comes that women has to do a dual work, another thing. And so what was the overall solution by this ad or this narrative, that men also should do household work? That was the solution that was seen. Now if technology can give a solution where neither of them have to do, then that can be a better solution. But like if the tendency is that if I am doing, you also come down. We say let us uplift everybody. Then why that cannot be thought? Technology can give us that solution. So this is this video about smart kitchens. So if things are done smartly, then everybody will love to do it. Why don't we go to such solutions rather than dragging some other people down to do the work which for thousands of years one identity was doing? Why not in the another way that it can be thought out? So this way it may open up. Technology in this way gives a new solution to the things. This also was about menial labor. This machine that you see, it is on Ahmedabad railway station I have seen. So it is Safai Kam, and if Safai Kams are done smartly with smart tools, You will find so many, even PhDs will go and apply. That I will do this, because you have to sit and drive vehicle only. It's a very smart job. You don't have to take savana in the hand and do real sweeping. So if that way the smart work is, but who will give the solution? Technological solutions will again bring so many people from menial task also outside, in those dynamics also. Moral Machine, MIT.edu is a site worth visiting. Massachusetts Institute, they are working on this, and they give some game plan, game zones kind of thing that people can work. What they are seeing is that what our driverless car will do will be what we are doing. Machines are learning from human behavior. That is what they say. So we will give lots of algorithm. Like if we see today, every day, for example, that how many accidents are committed by humans. We don't talk very seriously about that. But once a machine commits an accident, then we have lots of hula bulla around those kinds of things there. Yesterday was a terrible day for the flights. So many flights crashed and so many people died there. Humans, if they will make errors, machines are learning from humans. All their algorithm is coming from human behavior. So here they give this idea that if you are driving a car and there is a brake failure, and then there is an old couple going and there is a young child there, where will you collide? What will be your ethical way of thinking? Somewhere you are going to collide, whether you think that let all people die or a young one die. What will be your choice? There are pets there, cats and dogs, and then there is some people. What will be your choice? This a pulley kind of a thing. So that all very interesting game plans are given on this side. You can enjoy playing, but we learn that machines are learning lot from human behavior. If we recall this story, Frankenstein's story, we know that either it was Mary Shelley's Frankenstein or this Shankar's robot, Rajnikant Cheetah wala robot. Either of this 200 years back novel written by Mary Shelley or the recent popular film. In both the case, we find that the creature, the robot, becomes monstrous only after it got human emotions. Without human emotions, it was not bad. As soon as the cheetah is given the human emotions, said, I also want Aishwarya Rai. Why my master has Aishwarya Rai and I am without that? And then there is rivalry coming out. That creature of Mary Shelley also is, after reading books, seeing people in family, I also want a family. So then there is this. So as soon as the human emotion comes, there is a problem. So problem is basically with humans. We blame technology because we don't want to accept that ultimately it is we who are the problem, not the other things there. So both these narratives will tell this. Anukul by Satyajit Ray also is an interesting story. OK Computer also was the story which was also narrating the things in the similar dynamics there. This will take some more time, so I'm skipping this part of the thing. So normally people talk. This is from Sugata Mitra's one of the TED talks, that we talk a lot about technology, but the people, students, children are telling, give us, let us work. Don't be afraid that we will rot our brain or this will happen or that will happen. Give us, have a faith on us and allow us to play with all these tools and games, and we will make a world a better place to live rather than what apprehensions are driving the things there. So thank you, everybody. Any questions and answers we can take.
One or two volunteers.
Thank you, Dr. Barad, for such an enlightening presentation. Your insights on AI tools. Your insights on AI tools have undoubtedly enriched our perception in the field of AI for self-assessment of language proficiency and academic growth. We are now opening the floor for the question and answer session.
Yes, we are sure you have many questions, right?
Don't ask ChatGPT for questions.
We can quickly take a few questions. Please.
Professor Barad, thank you so much for this enlightening talk. Well, I have several, but I will not be as greedy as ChatGPT. Well, my first question is regarding Plato. I think what Plato was, I suspect whether Plato was really against the notion of writing. I know Socrates was really. That's why Socrates did not write anything about his ideas. So he was believing more in a dialogical manner. He also gave a reason why he is not supposed to write. Because he used to believe that once I start writing, people will consider it as a final truth, which he did not want to. And he wanted to create a dialogical manner where people can come and disrupt and create certain kind of a new knowledge through dialogue. And that was one of the main reasons. I don't think whether it was really a Plato who was really a critic of writing, because he gave a republic, he gave a separate dialogue in a written form, and continue Aristotle followed it. And the second question is that about the, do you think is it supposed to be a more hopeful talk about that the AI is overpowering the literary studies? Right now, I do not need to do any PhD, or for that matter, I do not need to write any research paper on what you call Sherry Bailey, or for about Dostoevsky, or for about any literary person so far. Do you think that there will be a future of a literary studies, and perhaps language will remain forever, but about the literature, which is a human element, right? So how do you see? Don't you think that the ChatGPT is considered as an antithesis to that of a literature? That was something I was. Thank you so much.
Yeah, the first one, it is coming from Phaedrus. So it is coming directly from what Plato wrote, Phaedrus dialogue. There this anecdote comes, and then he says, he's writing, but his preference was speech over writing. So the speech was privileged by this. And this is obviously in the original work of Plato also, and has been deconstructed by Derrida also. When he talks, he goes back to Plato and says this privileging of speech and writing is a problematic proposition when he is talking about the metaphysics of entire Western philosophy also.
Metaphysics of presence.
Presence, yeah. So it is written by Plato that there are some dangers to writing and other thing also. Socrates was not having a proper academy. He was a kind of a street walker and would have a dialogue with young people anywhere people gather. And Plato was a more academic kind of organized. He was writing also, but his preference was speech. Another one also is a good one, that what about literature studies? No, literature studies will obviously help, and more of literature study will be required not only for the humanities in their narrow corner, but we will require to talk about literature and the theories that we deal in literature with software engineers also. Because algorithms are made by them, and if they are not aware about the historical prejudices, biases that are there with human beings, which literature people can know in a better manner by them. So that link with anybody who is dealing with algorithm need to now deal with humanities, literature of the past, the theoretical way, the philosophical dynamics, the historical aspect, everything will be very much required. Otherwise, we have seen many research where prejudices and biases are coming up. For gender, it was proven case that how technology behaves in an awkward manner with the female identity. For a black people also, it finds a problem in recognition of face and other kinds of things. There was this case of Timmy Gabru, who resigned from Google, and it became quite the talk of the world episode. And her research also was on this, that how these algorithms are favoring white people rather than the black people. This thing. And by looks, many times people think that we judge people by looks. And literature tells that you should never judge people by their looks or by clothes. That sensibility comes from literature. So if there is a CCTV camera which is programmed that terrorist looks like this, and if he comes anywhere, you can shoot you can fire. There is a gun attached with that CCTV camera, so you will identify. So any Sikh will be identified as a terrorist if you give any image of the terror. So we should not identify people from clothes and looks. From where will we learn? It is from literature that we will learn. So literature will be required. And rereading will be necessary. Lots of rereading, new way of reading, and make it relevant today will be more important.
That has been captured by the AI. You see, if you step up and use anything wrong, then AI will definitely stop you. For example, the signal lights. There are cameras all over. So if I cross the signal before the signal gets green, I am sure that I am going to get the challan as soon as I reach my destination.
Yes.
So So don't you think is it necessary to be literature part will be there?
Yeah.
Because the most of the part has been done. Whether it would evoke my moral responsibility, the technology is doing the same thing. It is also evoking my moral responsibility.
Again, just 2 days back when we were reading one article by Tejaswini Niranjana on translation studies, this point came. And we discussed this in the class about traffic post and this thing. William Jones, when he was translating Shakuntala, and he was the Supreme Court judge during French Revolution time in France, and he was as a part of East India Company. 1790s he was doing. And we do appreciate William Jones as a good translator of Sanskrit language. He learned Sanskrit language, translated, but Niranjana is trying to have a post-colonial view and say that if you read letters of William Jones, you find that he learned Sanskrit because he found Indians as deceiters and cheaters. Specifically, he mentions that when he was to give some judgment, he wanted to know the Dharma Shastra of the people. So he would consult either mullahs or pandits. And he thinks that, well, they were playing with the translation. They were not explaining me the translation in a proper manner. So he found them cheaters. So he learned Sanskrit. It was not out of love for Sanskrit. So are Indians cheaters? The way the Westerners say that, well, these people are unreliable, and to organize them to believe into a specific rule will be very difficult to do. That's where the observations there. Today, if we see that if there is a fear of Chalan, then only I stop. Then we will say they were right in their after this many years also. So if there is nobody standing with a danda in the hand, then I will not follow the rules. Then it is required for the people. Now, if people are well disciplined and say that no, we will never break a rule and we don't want this system, but for that we have to first raise our moral standard of living life, and then we take it. No literature people will be in support of any of the surveillance systems, CCTV cameras or automated penalizing people, and many cases with earlier when they used to do photograph also. So then the photo will come to home, and there might be problem in the home. That who is sitting behind you, who is sitting in the car with you, and why were you passing this signal? You were supposed to be at university at this time. So this is privacy. You can't intercept the privacy of the people. So literature will tell that when people are free to live their life, this intervention of any system in the name of making a society better also should not be there, but moral concern is also prime. Once we are at that level, we can challenge all these things also. But if it is not, then we have to allow those things to happen.
The discussion can continue later. Yeah. Any other questions? Please. Yes, sir.
Sir, I just want to have your view. That we have been studying literature written by human beings so far. So do you think so that there will be a time that literature will be written by AI, and human beings will be studying the literature and getting some kind of sense out of the literature, but it will be entirely written by the AI. Nowadays we have just started taking help from AI, and AI is interfering in human activities, in so many activities. So if there will be a time, so what will be the value of human creativity in terms of literature? So do you think so it will happen? I mean, it will happen, then how to tackle such things?
It will be a very good competition. Competition always brings out a good creativity. In the Greek days, people used to say that when there is one night of celebration, 2, 3 tragedies and 1 comedies are performed, and the best performer is given God as a gift. So there is not a God song. Tragedies meaning is God song. So who will win? And there is a tough competition. So a better plays started coming. So if we have a good competition from AI, we will again sharpen our mind in a better way. And
but people are not even taking that in the sense of competition. People are getting their stuff written by the AI in terms of help. So it will be the question. People want
People, like, we cannot generalize that.
Yeah.
We cannot. People, when we say people, means everyone, right?
This side or that side. So how we select the samples of the people who are doing what. So many times we say, when we compare the things, I give this example that you can't compare Arya Bhatt with Alia Bhatt. it's a different story. We have great minds like Aryabhat even today working in NASA or ISRO. But if you compare somebody's entertainment industry with some scholarly person, you will say that we have all dull people here. You can't do that. So at par, comparison with the best of the best and the worst of the worst is a fair way to look at it.
We can take one more question now, and afterwards also, sir is around. You can interact with him. Yeah.
So my question is that as per in the section you have said that emotion makes the machine problematic. So as a human we have also emotion and make mistakes. And without emotions there are sometimes machine makes mistakes. So how we can judge that emotion is the problem?
No, you can't stereotype it. But this is an imaginary story. And we are trying to revisit. You can sit down. Yeah? We are trying to revisit that what are the imaginations. Normally, the normal reading of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein is that Frankenstein made a mistake in creating a creature. Now, this is reading against that. That, well, is it really the mistake of Frankenstein, or is it that the creature got a human emotion, human desire, and he started dreaming to be a human by reading some books which we read, that he demanded this. One can say that people have read also that monsters' demands are not bad demands also. People equate that with Adam and God also, the creation of God and Adam and that also. So if humans have a passion to live a different life, and God says, no, I don't want you have to be obedient to me forever, you are expelled now. Then one says, fine, I am happy in hell then. Let me rule in the hell. That's what Milton also writes there.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Professor Barad. In fact, it's a pleasure to have him here. And this 1 hour, 30 minutes was not enough. So we'll definitely invite you for a full-fledged one-day workshop, sir. And I'm sure students are looking forward to it. On a personal note, I would like to share that this generative AI started before 2 years. And right after the inception and people were starting using it, he was the first person. Now when it comes to integration of technology in India, Barad sir is a name there. Okay, and I request all the students to follow him on YouTube, ResearchGate. You can get all, and what he believes is whatever he tries out in terms of innovative ideas, in terms of real integration of technology in real classroom. So in terms of pedagogy also you'll get many ideas. Not only technology, even his lectures which are based on English literature are also amazing. So he is a person who teaches us a lot when we are talking of integration of technology in the classroom. And he talked about collaboration, right? And he also quoted Vygotsky. And Vygotsky also talks about ZPD, Zone of Proximal Development, which talks of collaboration. So generative AI is very much here, technology is very much here. We'll have to decide on how to judiciously use this. So thank you again on behalf of department that you are here, but we are looking forward to interact with you more on other occasion. Thank you very much, sir.
We will now take a short break for refreshment. We reconvene here at 1:30 for the next session. Thank you.